And we are live. Guys, thanks for tuning in to Now That's Debatable. I am live with Pastor Mike. Are you a pastor?
No, I'm just I do have
Okay.
a seminary degree though, but I never
Okay.
became a
What's
pastor.
seminary?
Tyndale Seminary in Tyndale University in Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah.
I almost went to seminary.
Oh, interesting.
And, well, I don't want to say almost. Well, when I first got to college, I
Mhm.
wanted to go to seminary. And then I just decided not to.
Yeah.
But I was looking at Liberty University, their
Okay.
theological seminary.
So
So,
all the liberal professors got you and turned you into an atheist. What happened?
oh man, so I turned atheist well after college, and
Oh, okay.
when I was in grad school working on a master's in public policy, I would
Okay.
say that's about when I turned atheist. And I
Right.
had very conservative, very Christian professors. So
Interesting.
yeah, but yeah, so anyway, so I'm here with Mike. It's the Master of Divinity.
Yep.
What title do you go by? Just Mike?
Just Mike. Yeah.
All right, too easy. So yeah, man. So he hit me up over email. Wanted to discuss the credibility, the reliability of the Bible.
Right.
So my co-host won't be on today. It'll just be me. I sent him the link. He may jump on in a little bit.
Okay.
But so you said we're talking about the reliability of the Bible, and when we talk about the Bible, I assume you mean the 66 books,
Yes, indeed. The 66, not
okay.
the others.
because there's like other different versions of Bibles, like you know the Catholic Bible, they have another one. There's some Orthodox Christians. I think the Russian Orthodox, they have a different Bible. Ethiopian Orthodox, it's a different Bible. Over the years, just have been different Bibles with different books. So you have narrowed it down to 66.
Yeah,
and
I
you
like
think those are the credible ones,
Those
and
are
the
the
other
ones.
books, like for instance, like the Gospel of Barnabas,
Yeah.
the Maccabees, right? Okay.
I
how
don't
did
think those to be reliable now.
okay? Before I let you, I guess, give a more thorough response about what it means for it to be credible, would you say that you believe both in the inerrancy and infallibility of the Bible?
Yeah, I do.
You accept both of those? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's going to be a very tough position to maintain, but we'll see.
Let's see
Okay,
how it
could
goes.
you want to give like a overview of why you think it is reliable?
Right, okay. So I think the Bible is the most historically and prophetically verified religious text in the world, and its evidence points specifically to Jesus Christ. So I think we can make a cumulative case here, where we talk about, first of all, the fact that the Bible repeatedly invites investigation into itself.
Okay.
For example, Isaiah says, "Come now, let us reason together." And Luke says that he was investigating eyewitness accounts. And Paul appealed to public facts. He said this thing was not done in a corner. He's saying that these things were publicly verifiable things, which makes the Bible uniquely, let's call it, falsifiable among religions. Okay. And then, so I have a few arguments here I want to bring forward. The first is that the Bible is historically grounded. It's not mythology in some vague past. It's talking about real nations under real kings, real cities, right? And that makes it falsifiable because we can check if any of those things didn't happen, as the Bible describes, then Christianity collapses.
If any historical claim in the Bible fails,
Yes.
then Christianity collapses.
That's right.
Mike, you might become an atheist tonight.
We'll see.
But, all right.
Do your best. I'm down.
Okay.
Well, I was going to talk about the Hittites. They were once
Okay.
considered mythical, but now we discovered thousands of Hittite records, and we discovered their palaces. Nineveh was once claimed to be a legend of the Bible, but it has now been excavated and identified. Sargon II is mentioned in Isaiah 20. Critics claimed he never existed, but now his palace was later discovered. And Daniel names Belshazzar as the last king of Babylon, but critics claim that Babylon's last king was Nabonidus. But archaeology later revealed that Belshazzar was co-regent under Nabonidus, so that Daniel was correct. Then you have the Pool of Bethesda, which is claimed to be a biblical myth and also excavated. The Pilate inscription confirmed that Pilate was, in fact, the proconsul of Jerusalem, or Israel, or sorry, Judah, I should say, Judea. And they found the Caiaphas ossuary, which is a bone box, a burial box of the high priest who was involved in Jesus' trial. So, although skeptics repeatedly try to claim that the Bible is wrong about things, archaeology keeps confirming it, actually. So then, archaeology actually confirms many other things about the Bible as well, such as, the House of David was found in the Tel Dan Stele. So people thought that David was a myth, but we found that, no, the House of David is described in archaeology. Hezekiah's tunnel matches 2 Kings. The Siloam inscription shows the description of the tunnel's construction. The Lachish reliefs describe the Assyrian campaign against the Israel nation. Okay, so it's just on and on with these things. The Babylonian Chronicles show Nebuchadnezzar's campaigns. The Cyrus cylinder confirms the Persian policy that the Persians would rebuild temples, just as we could see in the book of Ezra. So the trend is not that the Bible is disproven. The trend is that the Bible is repeatedly vindicated by historical research and archaeology.
Okay. So, all right. Now, let's say that it was historically accurate in everything that it says.
Okay.
So, if it's history, I think writing historically accurate things is relatively easy. Why would that be proof that everything, why would that be proof that it's divine?
It wouldn't be proof, but it would show that it's not like.
Why would be evidence that it's divine?
Right. It's not proof, but it's indicated strongly more than other religious texts. For example, they don't have these detailed historical.
Right, but the detailed and historical things that's discussed, right? It's written by people who witnessed those things, right? Okay, so wouldn't it be pretty trivial for somebody to accurately record something that they witness? Think about this. I've been in school for a long time, right? I got 2 master's degrees in public policy and computer science. I've written tons of research papers in different things. All right. Now, I could pick one specific paper on a topic, like in computer science, right? If I was writing about some sort of, I don't know, algorithm, and if everything in it was accurate, and it'd probably be the case if I have sources available in front of me, how would that be evidence that it is divinely inspired?
Well, no, I don't think it's evidence that it's divinely inspired. I think it's evidence that it's uniquely historically accurate as compared to other religious texts of the world, such as the Quran or the Bhagavad Gita or whatever, Okay. Then I was actually I'm not even done my argument. I'm sorry for taking too long, but I had some other things I wanted to talk about fulfilled prophecy.
All right.
Such as, for example, Isaiah names Cyrus of Persia, names him long before he was born, and he predicts that he was going to rebuild Jerusalem and restore Israel, and that's exactly what happened.
How did you know that was a prediction?
Well, yeah, I suppose there's some debate about whether that part of Isaiah was written later, right? Is that what you're trying to get?
Yeah, because I've looked a little bit into this, not specifically for the Isaiah, but some of the so-called prophecies in Daniel, and the dialect of Aramaic that is written in did not exist.
Well,
at the time that those predictions were made, it suggests that it was written later. Imagine if I was writing a historical account of George Washington and Benjamin Franklin having a conversation,
and he said in 20th century English, right?
Right, exactly. Right, hey Benji, hey, what's cracking, my guy? You right? It'd be absurd. So that is, from my understanding, and I don't read Aramaic or any sort of ancient language,
Right.
but that is essentially what was going on in the book of Daniel,
Right.
and
Now,
in any sort of so-called Old Testament prophecy.
yeah. No, you know what? The thing is that linguistic evidence is highly debated. Okay. Now,
Mm-hmm.
we could get into the details of that. I'm not that familiar with it, but I've looked at it, and
Okay.
we could discuss that. But I don't think that's very strong evidence to say that Daniel is written late. I
Okay,
think most. Okay, go ahead.
Well, how would you know that it was written before?
Well,
Like, let's say you had a document. Let's say you had a document, a document in front of you, and it said that Donald Trump is going to win the election in November 2025.
Yeah.
How
Okay.
would you know
Yeah,
that
you
that
wouldn't
was a prediction?
You
How do you
wouldn't
know
know.
that was written
You
prior?
wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. That's true.
You wouldn't.
No, this is the thing. This is the thing, though. This is the thing.
Okay.
With Daniel. Okay, you can say that about the predictions about Alexander, or the predictions about the empires of the Persians and stuff. But when he talks about the Messiah, that is a prediction that was made before Jesus. Like even critical scholars will admit that it was written before Jesus, because
What
find it-
prediction about the Messiah?
Oh, he
What
talks
did you
about
say?
how. Well, okay, he talks about how the Messiah will arrive in Jerusalem 69 weeks after the order to rebuild Jerusalem goes out from Artaxerxes, and then he talks about how the Messiah will be cut off.
69 weeks from Artaxerxes?
69 weeks. So Artaxerxes made that 69, but weeks is like 7 years, not 7 days. So he predicts it that 69 by 7 years, right? Which is like 400 and something years.
My understanding is that Xerxes lived like hundreds of years prior to Jesus. Like this was
Yeah.
before Alexander the Great.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, all right. So there was nothing that Jesus did that came 7 years after. That was within
No.
7 years of Xerxes.
What I'm saying is this. Okay. Daniel says that 69 weeks from the order to rebuild Jerusalem,
Mm-hmm.
that's when the Messiah would arrive basically, right? So exactly 69 weeks or whatever number of years that is, 400 and something years.
Mm-hmm.
That's when Jesus was born. And then he talks about how the Messiah will be cut off or
How
die.
do we know when Jesus was born?
Okay. Well, within a few years.
Well, I don't know. So
you don't know? Oh, okay. So we know.
well, I know it's around 4 BC is my understanding.
Right. Between 0 and 4 BC, generally
Okay.
scholars put it.
All right. So no. What we have to do. So let's say Artaxerxes makes a decree. 7 years later, a child is born,
Yeah.
and you're claiming that's the Messiah.
Not 7 years. Not 7 years. Like 400 years after.
Okay, 400 years.
Plus,
Okay.
Yeah. Right. And then the Messiah is born.
Why are we pointing to some baby being born in first century Palestine and saying this is the Messiah?
Because it's not just that. He also talks about the Messiah will die, and the Messiah will die before Jerusalem is destroyed. It's a set of coincidences that's very hard to explain, you know?
But there's probably a bunch of babies that was born in first century Palestine and then died prior to Jerusalem being destroyed.
But how many of those babies claimed to be the Messiah and then was killed and then
I don't know. But here's the
Jerusalem
thing.
was destroyed. How did he know that Jerusalem would be destroyed
Did
shortly after the Messiah was born, you know?
Jesus was familiar with the book of Daniel, right? Or Isaiah? Where's his prophecy coming from?
Daniel, yeah.
Daniel. So he was familiar with that, right? So if I'm happened to be born within that time period, I get to say, hey, I'm born during this time period. I am God. It's me. I'm the Messiah.
Yeah. But how did Jesus know that the temple would be destroyed and the Romans would destroy Jerusalem?
My understanding is that he wasn't predicting that the temple was going to be destroyed. He was talking about his body.
Well, no, he does talk about how the temple will be destroyed. Do you want to take a look at it?
Sure.
Okay. Let me just.
Where's this? Where did you just say this?
Do you want me to share my Bible? I can show it to you, or
Okay.
if you want to check it out. Oh, okay,
No, no,
okay.
no, no, no. I'm talking about Jesus. You said Jesus predicted that the temple would be destroyed. My understanding was that Jesus was not predicting the temple. He was talking about his body. It says that in the text.
You're talking about John chapter 20, but this is a
Maybe.
different prophecy, okay? In
Okay.
this prophecy, or no, not John chapter 20, John chapter 2, my bad. But anyway, in this prophecy here, what happens is, okay, Jesus went out, departed from the temple. His disciples came to him to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, see ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. So this is the prediction of the prophecy of the temple being destroyed.
Okay.
And that occurs, and also Daniel knew that as well. That's the thing.
So Jesus was just quoting Daniel.
Well, I mean, so then now you're saying, okay, Jesus somehow knew that he was the prophet, he was the Messiah that Daniel predicted, or like.
Well, no.
Jesus
What
assumed
what I'm
that?
saying is, Jesus was a Jew, and a practicing Jew who believed the book of Daniel. Believed the book of Isaiah or whatever Old
Daniel,
Testament book
yeah,
he quoted.
it's
Daniel,
Daniel, yeah.
right? He believed that. So if he's a Jew, of course he's going to believe that prophecy in Daniel.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that Jesus had some secret knowledge. It just means he also believed it.
Yeah, but then how did that actually come true then, though? I
Well-
mean, why did it come true? Like, you know?
Well, you mean why did the temple get taken down? Like how did
Or
Jesus
how
predict
how
it?
was Daniel or Jesus able to know that prophecy would come true?
How many times did the temple been destroyed throughout history?
Twice.
Twice?
Yeah, once in the time of.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's a good question. Since we don't know, we can't say God. We could just say we don't know.
Well, yeah, you could say you don't know, but a better explanation would be that God did it, because the fact is,
You could
it's like,
say
it's like you have this person 400 years in the past who's predicting this thing to happen, right? And so it's like, I mean, we could just say, well, maybe it was just a coincidence, but it's like it's hard to explain this without just saying that God knew and God told Daniel, you know?
I don't know. I mean, I would say if we don't have an explanation, then we don't have an explanation.
Yeah, sure, you could do that, but then you're just like kind of admitting that you don't have an explanation. It's kind of like one
Right.
of these things. It's kinda like,
That's totally fine. There's a
Is that
bunch of
fine?
things.
is that
yeah.
fine?
Yeah. If I don't have an explanation, then I just don't know. Like that's it. I mean, like,
Well,
am I happy about that? No, but that is the most honest conclusion I could come to. What I wouldn't do is just jump to saying it's a prophecy.
I don't think it's a jump. It's like, I mean, would you admit that it's possible that God could do it, and that there's a God and that He did it? Is it possible?
It is. I would say it is analytically possible.
It's
as in
logically possible, right?
Yes, it
Okay.
violates no law of logic.
Okay. So,
But
okay.
neither would time travel. Neither would a psychic. Neither would Jesus had some sort of conspiracy with the Romans to tear down the temple. Like I could come up with scenarios for the rest of the night. You know.
Well, no. The thing is with that is like, there's other prophecies as well. So it's just there's so many prophecies.
Okay.
There's so many other things that also line up with this. It's hard to just say, oh, it's just time travel or something like. And then
Why wouldn't it? If
Well,
he's God,
if-
wouldn't he be?
if we say time travel, right? If we say time travel, then you're literally just off. It's like I could just say, okay, yeah, it's a pink unicorn. You know, I could just say it's a pink unicorn in the sky who just did it all, right? That's
You could
that's
say,
valid.
you know, what's hilarious is that example was intentionally absurd. But the ironic part is that example has just as much evidence as the God.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No,
The pink
God
unicorn.
thing-
If the pink
is not
unicorn is
comparable to
conceived
God.
to the future, he'd be capable of predicting the
Sure,
temple.
sure. But the thing is, the reason why the God explanation is better is like we could go to other arguments for God, such as I'm sure
Okay.
you're familiar with, like, I don't know, like Aquinas' 5 ways or something like that. We could do something like that. We could show that there's a good reason to believe there's a God already.
Right,
And
but
then-
okay, even if you granted that there was a God, it still wouldn't logically follow that the God is how he predicted this.
Oh yeah, it would, because
That's just one means. Like for instance, it is possible for me to take a taxi to work. That doesn't mean that I took a taxi to work today, and I didn't.
right. So
See,
what
all
are
you
saying
you've
it's
done is
possible?
you have concocted this logical possibility of how somebody could predict something, and then saying that is necessarily the case. And
No,
there
well,
are
I'm
several
saying-
alternatives. You even given one of yourself, the pink unicorn.
The pink unicorn. I'm giving that example as one that's not a valid explanation. You know.
Okay.
But I'm saying there's also other prophecies that are predicting as well. So it's kind of like there's this cumulative case of prophecies that came true. The Daniel one is still difficult for you to explain. You have to. You're not
Question.
going to. Okay.
When was the book of Matthew written?
Book of Matthew, probably.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would say before 70 AD, but most scholars would say, well, yeah, between 60 and 90, or between 60 and 80
Right. So that's after the wall fell, right? So
AD. Well,
I
think
just
it was
Googled
before,
it.
I think it was before the wall fell. Personally,
You think it's before?
even
Some
if-
people think otherwise.
No,
So
even
I
if you-
just
even if you
Googled
see
it.
Okay, so they'll say after. Okay, fine, fair enough. But this is the
well,
thing.
okay. I what I'm saying is, so I have done almost no research into this. I just
Yeah.
Googled.
Yeah,
That is
sure.
it.
Sure,
And
sure.
it says between 75 and 90.
Okay. But
So-
that would still
so
not
we're-
explain. There's a couple of things that
It would explain it because now it's a past event.
No,
So
but
all I did was predict that Trump going to win the presidency.
yeah.
I predict that he starts a war with Iran. You know,
No.
I'm
Because
predicting the
that doesn't
first
explain-
president.
That doesn't explain the Daniel thing. How did Daniel know? And also, how did
So when was Daniel? You said that the temple was destroyed twice, right? When was the first time?
the first time was in Daniel's day when he was a young man, you know? And then and then he predicts this one happening hundreds of years in the future as an old man, you know?
Okay.
So
I mean-
and then also the other thing is like there's other prophecies about Jesus too, like many. So it's like how did all these things line up like that, you know? And also once again, I
I
don't
think
even believe
those
the
are
story
claims that it lined up. So you have Daniel saying these things, and then you have Matthew coming about hundreds of years after, claiming that those things were fulfilled.
oh yeah, but then it doesn't explain, like, for example, why would Matthew even write this? It's like in his best interest not to write this. You know, he's going to be persecuted for writing this. He's going to be most Christians believe that he was killed for writing this stuff. You know, it's that kind of thing. Like it doesn't explain all the data that we have. You know,
We don't know exactly who wrote the book of Matthew.
no,
but-
we don't. That's true.
And so why would somebody write that? I don't know. I don't even know where this person was. Perhaps they were in a place where they didn't have to worry about being persecuted. We know Christianity was popular throughout the area, throughout, Eastern Europe, the Middle East and Northern Africa, right? So this might be somewhere in that area with a bunch of other Christians, and he's just writing books with relative safety, from religious persecution. No
It's
idea.
Possible. But then we don't.
You notice how we're just speculating?
Well, you're speculating.
Well,
I'm going
I
from-
think so. Okay, well, I think we're both speculating, but you're claiming to know, and I'm saying
No.
I don't know. Here are these possibilities.
Well, I'm still presenting my cumulative case here. I think you kind
Okay.
of stopped me in the middle.
Okay, I'm
but
sorry. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. But I was gonna say, like, okay, it's not just the Daniel prophecy. It's also like the prophecy about. Well, Daniel actually prophesied about Alexander the Great
Okay.
before that happened. But people will say, okay, it was written later. People
Right.
make that
That's
argument, right?
that's the issue, right? And
Now,
that's from the dialect
again,
of Aramaic.
I would strongly oppose that linguistic argument, but we could get into that. But like I
But
say,
but
I
that's
think for the
isn't
most
that a
part-
really strong one?
no, it's not.
You don't think
It's
that's a
not.
strong one?
It's not strong at all. It's
Like
not strong at all.
if George Washington said that King George, he said, "Hey man, you capping."
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
you don't think that's strong evidence
No,
that
but that's
that
what I'm
wasn't
saying.
written in the
That's what I'm
1700s?
saying. That all those data that they bring up to say that it's like written late are highly contested. You know, it's not as if it's some slam dunk case that they had. If Daniel was saying, like, oh yeah, so you're capping, right? And then they found it there, then I would say, okay, yeah, it's a strong case. But all the things that they bring, all the little data that they bring, are highly contested. And then,
But here's the thing. So we talk about them being highly contested, right? So we have no evidence. At least I don't have any evidence of a God doing anything.
well,
However, we know it is possible to post-dict things. It is definitely possible for me to write an event of the past, and then claim that it was written prior to the event.
right. Well, that's the
Isn't
thing.
it more
Because-
likely that it was just a post-diction?
Well, that doesn't explain how Daniel was able to predict the Messiah, though, and the destruction of Jerusalem. You know.
But remember, so the in Daniel, right? So we have several people, like pretty much anybody that's able to read that have the book of Daniel, and if they want to claim that they fulfilled the role of the Messiah, then they can just say that these things are true about them, and then go out and actively do other things. Like for instance, let's say there was a book of, let's say black people, we had our own religion, like Jewish, right? And we had our own book, and it says the Black Messiah is going to be born in such and such, and then he's going to go to certain schools and all that kind of stuff. If I wanted to be the Black Messiah, then I would go out and actively do those things, and then say, "Hey, it's me. The prophecy was about me the whole time."
But you couldn't make them destroy Jerusalem after your death. That's the thing. That's the thing that Daniel predicted, which Jesus couldn't possibly have done.
But remember, so where? Okay, you say Daniel predicts the destruction of Jerusalem.
Yeah, after the Messiah dies.
I mean, the thing about that, so they were living in a time where cities were being sacked all the time.
Oh, come on,
I would
man.
say-
You're gonna say, oh,
Yes, okay.
This is a coincidence.
Can you give me an example of an ancient city that wasn't at some time invaded, sacked, destroyed?
Well, you
Like
know what's
it
interesting
pretty
about
much
Jerusalem?
happened to all of them.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting about Jerusalem is it didn't happen to that place except for those two times. Like only twice was the temple destroyed. You know,
Okay.
and they were both prophesied in the Bible. You know, the first temple's destruction was prophesied in the Bible, and the second temple's destruction was prophesied in the Bible. You know,
Right, but like I mean, if a city gets ransacked, especially by like some other empire, the temple is probably going to be one of the first things to go. Right,
Well,
like that's what empires tend to do, right? When they go and invade a city, like a lot of times they go out and destroy that place's source of identity. And you're talking about a temple, that's gonna be one of the things.
Actually, what they would often do is they would go and they would like defile the temple, and that's what they did. And that was also predicted, by the way, in the Bible. Predicted that they would defile the temple. But
Was it Antiochus Epiphanes or something like that? With
Antiochus Epiphanes, exactly.
yeah, he go out, he slaughtered a pig
Right,
in the temple for his
Those
god.
type
Yeah,
of
right.
Things. So that's what they would often do, and they wouldn't destroy the temple. They would leave it there defiled to demoralize the people.
Okay.
And that's something that was predicted, again, in the Bible. And then the destruction is predicted to a T after the Messiah comes.
I don't think that's it, but considering what's going on, but considering the history of like just the world at that time, just about every city at some point had gotten invaded and ransacked and ran through. Like,
but it's interesting how the Jews, you know. And even Alexander, he didn't. What's happening here? Anyway, he didn't destroy the temple. He didn't destroy the city. He just he let them leave it standing.
Let me make sure you're still. You're good. I can still hear you.
Okay.
All right. I don't know what just happened. For some reason, it
Yeah.
says Toronto Bible Studies recording will continue on a new track. Started a
Oh
new
yeah, I
record.
saw that. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I don't know why, but you can, everybody can still hear on YouTube.
All right.
And if there is an issue, guys, I'll just once Riverside finishes processing it, I'll just upload the recording. But
Cool.
go ahead, Mike.
So what were we saying? Yeah. If you want to say, oh, it's just a coincidence, it's just a coincidence. It's like, come on, man. Like he literally says, hundreds of years before.
I would say it's
Messiah's
not just a
gonna die.
coincidence. Like it's kind of inevitable, right? You
Nah,
you talk
dude,
about especially
come
like
on, come on.
right. I mean,
Come on.
it'd be like it'd be like predicting that America is gonna get into another war.
No,
Well,
it's not-
yeah,
it's not like
duh.
that. It's not
That's
like
what
that.
we
It's not-
do.
it's not
It's
like that.
also
It's
going to
'cause-
be in the Middle East.
No. Think about
I
think about
mean,
what happened.
come
Think
on.
about what happened, brother. Think about what
Okay.
happened. Well, first, the temple gets destroyed once. Then he predicts that it's going to be rebuilt.
Okay.
Then by Cyrus. By Cyrus. He names him. Cyrus is named.
Who says
and it's
that? Who
rebuilt.
named Cyrus?
Isaiah.
Okay, and how do we know Isaiah
Yeah,
wrote
you
this
guys-
before Cyrus? This
I know.
could be post
I
diction.
know. But then think about it this way.
Okay.
It's like, okay, even if you try to say that, then it doesn't explain how Daniel was able to explain the temple's destruction finally. So, like, you don't have an explanation for that last part. And so it's better to say, okay, we don't have an explanation for this, so let's go with the other explanation. And that explains everything. Everything was a prophecy by God, as he said. And just deal with it. Just deal with the facts of that. Just deal with the reality of that, you know?
I think since we don't have an explanation, you would say we don't have an explanation.
No, because that's like, do you believe in the so-called principle of sufficient reason? That idea that you need to like explain things. We generally try to explain things. We don't just say, "Oh."
I think we
don't
try
know.
to explain things, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't hold to PSR dogmatically. I
Sure,
think there
okay, I'm
may
not
be
saying
things
it's
that
dogmatic,
don't
but-
have an explanation. I think
There may
reality
be.
itself.
There may be.
Right.
There may be.
Can I
But-
can I read
go
you
ahead.
what I read from Google about Isaiah?
Okay.
It says that-
I know. They're gonna say this part was written after, and that's what they say. This is
Right.
what
It was
they
written.
say.
Yeah, it's written in different parts.
But this is the thing. Is it more likely that it was really written in different parts, or is it more likely that secular scholars, unable to explain the supernatural prophecies that we see in the Bible, just simply assert that these books are written later than the prophecies in order to have this explanation that they can offer up? But that still doesn't explain. They cannot explain the Daniel thing.
So,
Daniel predicting
my-
the destruction of the temple. But go ahead.
So I know a few guys who study ancient languages and ancient texts for a living, and the two that I know, they don't have an interest. They don't have like some secular interest or some anti-God interest to disprove the Bible. They're just doing the science. They're looking at the text. They're looking at the way words are written, and they're studying languages to draw conclusions. I mean, like they're doing like a type of historical science on.
Sure.
They're doing critical analysis just on this text. So I mean, I don't know about all of them, but I would think scholars in general they're really just trying to do quality work. You got peer review out there, and so if they actually do so like a shitty job just trying to disprove Christianity or disprove the Bible, somebody's going to come behind them and point that, hey, this is wrong because of blah blah blah. You're not following good scientific methods here.
Well, no. Well, I think there is a certain level of like I would just say there's a certain level of bias, shall we say, or something we could call it, toward naturalism in academia. You know what I mean? Where an explanation that God did it is not really considered valid in most fields of science.
Right.
In most fields of
in most
you know what I
fields
mean?
of science, right, you're going to be methodological naturalism is what it's going to be,
Yeah.
right? And I'm a methodological naturalist. I mean, that's not a bias against God. That is the position.
Is.
It's not.
is.
It's a position of epistemic modesty. Like, for instance,
No, it's not. I would not call it that. But let's hear what you're saying about that. Let's hear what you say about that.
So for me, I am a methodological naturalist because I will not attribute an act to something of which I have no evidence for. So, for instance, if I don't have evidence that the tooth fairy exists, I will not attribute any particular phenomenon to the tooth fairy. Mm-hmm. You could replace tooth fairy with Santa Claus or with Martians or aliens or with God. Just like for a living, I work with computers. Uh-huh. If there is an issue, some sort of error with a computer or with a line of code, I'm not going to think demons. I'm going to think that there is a problem somehow in its functionality. Mm-hmm. You know, that's what I'm going to go with. Just like I wouldn't go. I wouldn't go with Barney either. Like, for the same reasons I wouldn't go with demons. For the same reasons I wouldn't go for God. So that's not a bias against God. That is a position of not attributing causes for things that you have no evidence for.
Mm-hmm. No, but this is the thing. Like, the claim that there's no evidence for God or that there's no possibility is not valid. And so,
well, I didn't say there's no possibility.
Or there's no evidence, right? That's what you're suggesting?
Well, and so maybe I said the word there's no evidence. What I really meant to say was for things that I have no evidence for. So if I don't have any evidence for God or for the tooth fairy, I won't attribute that. Like, if my daughter loses a tooth, we put it under the pillow, and it's gone the next day. And I didn't take it. Her mother didn't take it. She didn't take it. What happened to the tooth? Perhaps we lost it. Yeah. That is what I'm going to go with. I'm not going to go with the tooth fairy.
Sure. That's valid, but this is different with, let's say, you know what, my primary evidence I was going to get to is the resurrection of Jesus Christ, right?
Let's go straight there.
And let's talk about that, because the fact is, like, okay, you have this man who says that he's the predicted Messiah of the Old Testament.
Okay.
And then he predicts that he says that he's God. He says that he will die and rise again. Mm-hmm. And then that happens. Okay, now you're gonna say to me, well, the evidence for that happening is this, and this, and I was gonna say to you that that's different than the tooth fairy thing. It's different because he's not. We
got a book.
Not just like
we got a book that says he was resurrected.
Well, it's not just a book. It's like these 4 different people produced these books about the event.
My understanding is that they were just copying Mark. Mark was the original.
Just copying Mark?
For the most part. So the synoptic was like John obviously deviated a whole lot.
Right? Yeah, a lot, right? And also, even the others, like let's take the theory that they used Mark.
Mm-hmm. Okay, why would the books making a claim, why would that be evidence of the fact? Because to me, the books are the claim. The books is where it says the thing happened. So the book can't be. The books can't be the evidence for the claim, because the books are the claim, unless you're saying the claim is by definition evidence. So if I say I got a dinosaur in my house, the evidence will be me claiming that I had a dinosaur in my house.
Well, no, I'm looking at historical. Well, the way we generally do ancient history, right? We're looking at textual claims by people who were in the time of that, or later historians of the era. So, how do we know Caesar crossed the Rubicon? Because some people wrote about it in that era. Right, so we know that happened, right?
Yeah, we also look at other things, right? Like, how many other things do they claim that we can also verify? We also look at the language. Are they writing in a dialect and language that is consistent with that time and era? Like, there's a bunch of bunch of indicators that we can look at.
Okay, well, now, if you want to look at that, like, scholars don't deny. Generally, scholars of the period, they don't deny that Jesus was a real person. that he was
Nor am I.
crucified by Pontius Pilate.
I can grant that.
Crucified by Pontius Pilate.
Sure.
And also they don't deny that the disciples really did believe that they saw him, right?
I don't know about that. I mean,
Well,
I can just grant it. I don't know. The book claimed that the disciples claimed that he saw him, but sure. I mean, I can grant it.
No, what I'm saying is, scholars of the period generally do not try to deny these facts. Okay, and this is like mainstream.
Which
ideas,
facts?
like the fact that Jesus was a real person.
Sure.
He was crucified by Pontius Pilate.
Sure.
The disciples believed that he was risen from the dead. Whether you want to deny the actual resurrection or not, the notion that the disciples believed that is almost universally accepted by scholars. And then the notion that Paul, who was a skeptic, was converted. Those 4 facts are generally, it's like widely believed by scholars of the period, okay?
Okay.
So those 4 facts are very difficult to explain unless we say that he did in fact rise.
Well, no, that is evidence that they believed it. That's not evidence that it happened.
Yeah, well, yeah. So then other theories of why did they believe it? So you might say they hallucinated, right? But then it's hard.
They didn't have to hallucinate. I mean, you believe in Jesus, don't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think you hallucinated. You seem like an intelligent person and capable to me. I don't.
No, they're not just believing that he existed. They're believing that they saw him, that they touched him.
Oh no, that's what the book claimed. We don't know if they believe that. The book claims that.
Yeah, and like I was saying to you, scholars generally who study these periods, who study those evidences, don't generally dispute this, that they believed it. The dispute is about whether why they believed it. That's where the debate comes in. Why did they believe that? Some people will say, they hallucinated, or some people will say that they had a conspiracy, that they wanted to form a cult and become rich off of it or something, right?
Or you could just say you don't know.
Well, that's the thing. I think that's. I think that's the cop out.
It's not.
Say, I don't know.
I don't like. I have no way to investigate. It's not like I can talk to any of these people.
No, that's true. But what I'm saying is, you could look at the data and look at it. But like I say, these scholars that actually study the data, they're not trying to say, well, it's just a bunch of, or they don't say, we don't know. They come up with a theory. They come up with some kind of theory. They'll say hallucination, or they'll say it was a conspiracy, or whatever, right? If they're secular.
But you understand, like, you don't have to come up with an alternative to not believe the main narrative.
Well, I suppose once again you could just say, we don't know, right? Well, like I said,
you could, especially if you don't know. I think that's a good reason to say you don't know, because you can't investigate these things. You're you say, if he didn't raise from the dead, how do I explain the fact that the disciples really believed it? I don't know if they really believed it. That's another claim right there. The book says they believed it.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you look at other books where it talks about how they died for their faith, and what's it called, the Fox's Book of Martyrs and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we pretty much know that was like nonsense. That was written like 1,500 years later. That's like all legend.
But Fox's Book of Martyrs is not. I'm not going to that for my historical evidence here, right? Okay. I'm not trying to say that. I'm trying to say, it's hard to explain why these look. It was very expensive. It's very dangerous for them. Very difficult for them to come up with 4 books about this person. Think about it this way. Mm-hmm. Alexander conquered the entire known world, right? Of the time, the most famous person of the period. Mm-hmm. And we don't have a biography of him until 400 years after his death. But with Jesus, we have 4 biographies of him written within a century of his death. It's unheard of in the ancient world for this to happen. So why did this happen? Why did this one person get 4 biographies written about him? but 4 different people, and they're all discussing this fact that he's the Messiah, that he's the Son of God. Why would they do this? Why would this happen?
Because
It's difficult to explain
those
it.
4 individuals, or however many people there were that wrote those 4 books, perhaps had an agenda to convert people to Christianity.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So now, if you say that, okay, they just had an agenda, it was just a conspiracy, they just wanted to do it for whatever reason,
Yeah.
money or what have you, that doesn't explain why so many of them died horribly for this fact. Why they would submit to? They're not going to
How
get
do
rich
we
off
know
of
he
it.
died horribly?
Well, at least we know.
Which
For example, that Paul, Peter, most scholars are not going to deny this. The notion that all of them died horribly. Maybe you might call that like a Christian myth. You might say that. I wouldn't say that, but whatever. But even scholars would generally argue that yes, Paul, Peter, and I think James, the brother of Jesus, or James the brother of John, that those 3 literally did become martyrs for the faith. And the question is again, why would they do this? Why would they do it if it was just to make money? You know?
Well, I wouldn't say that it's just to make money. I just say like,
Or whatever,
I mean,
or
perhaps
whatever.
they really believed it.
If they really,
I mean,
if they did really believe it, then why would they really believe it?
I don't know. I mean, why would someone strap a bomb to himself and blow up people thinking that he's gonna go to heaven and get 42, how many versions?
I see. Okay, well,
I mean, I don't know.
Okay, you could make it go that way with it, but the thing is, the difference with that is, you have a religion that's already been established, like Islam, and then it has these people among its members which are radicals, right? Which are, what do you call it? Like fanatics, okay? Well, why would these people who were at the beginning of it, who supposedly witnessed him die, and you're saying that they thought he rose or whatever, why would they become fanatics? You know, why would they have the same hallucination and become fanatics?
Oh, it didn't have to be a hallucination. I mean, they could just believe or want to convince people of a religion for various reasons. I mean, okay, what one good reason is like, for instance, let's say I'm a zealot like Peter, who wants to undermine Rome. What's a good way to do that? You know, perhaps claim that hey, we the Jews, we actually found the Messiah, and it's this guy, right?
Well,
that might be a good way to help, or organize people to go against Rome and to defy it. And it was working, right?
No, it did. It didn't.
People were dying in defiance of what Rome was saying.
No, because first of all, there's no evidence Peter was a zealot. First of all, secondly,
okay,
they didn't organize against Rome.
Doesn't the Bible call him a zealot?
That was another one of them, Simon, I think. But
okay.
But it's also the fact that the Christians didn't organize against Rome. They didn't. They opposed that. They opposed zealotry. They opposed all that kind of thing, you know? So it's actually not a good theory to say that, Christianity came out of some kind of anti-Roman movement or something. It doesn't explain any of the data, you know?
Can I want to grant something. All right, so for Jesus, so you believe Jesus was God, right?
I do.
Okay. Or do you think the resurrection was evidence of that?
Yes, because he predicted. First of all, he claimed he was God. He said that he talked about the prophecies about his death and resurrection, and then that happened. Assuming it did, right? Then that would be evidence of him being a divine person. Yes.
Okay. How would you rule out other possibilities? Let's say we actually see him raised from the dead. How would you determine that he did it because he's God?
Well, I would look at the fact that first he said that he was God before he died.
Yes. How do you know he's telling the truth?
Oh, that's the thing. So he's saying it, and then he's saying that the proof is going to be when I die and rise again, and then that happens. So it's like, okay, well, he said it, and then it did happen.
What if I was capable of raising myself from the dead? Right? I'm not God. I'm not all powerful. I really don't even know the future. Right? But I do know I can raise myself from the dead.
Okay.
And then I say, I'm God. falsely claiming to be God, and I say the proof is that I'm going to raise myself from the dead.
Yeah. Yeah, if that were possible,
would
then
you then
that would be interesting.
You would then believe that I'm God?
Well, I would, because the thing is, first of all, well, it's not just the fact that you predicted it, but that it was predicted in the scriptures, which were before he was born. And secondly, it's the fact that people don't have the ability to rise from the dead. They don't have that ability. You know
Right.
what
So I'm not a regular person. Let's say I'll be non-God who's just capable of raising myself from the dead. So what I'm asking is, how do you distinguish a God who can raise himself from the dead from a non-God who can also raise himself from the dead?
Well, okay, first I would say, first of all, that there is no such person who could do that.
How do you know?
Well, has anyone ever done it?
I don't know. Perhaps Jesus was that person. Perhaps Jesus was that person.
Well,
I'll say Jesus.
Come on, you're at the same time you're gonna also point to evidence that, for example, you're gonna say, well, people don't walk on water, so Jesus couldn't have walked on water. You're gonna say that, right? You're gonna use
let's say Jesus figured out the way to walk on the water. I don't see how that logically entail that he's God.
No. I'm not saying that in itself did, right? But I'm just saying that you're kind of like flipping between your, let's say, your evidential, like your criteria for what's valid evidence. You're flip-flopping there, because you're saying
no. I'm not saying that it's not valid evidence. I'm asking you, how is it evidence? It's a question. I'm asking you know how, like, you know what an inference rule is?
Sure. Yeah.
So like inference rule is what connects the premises to the conclusion.
Sure.
Right? So the premise, Jesus rose from the dead.
Mm-hmm.
He walked on water, whatever else you want to add.
Right.
Conclusion, he is God. What is the inference rule?
No. I don't think that's the argument here. Let me try to do this in another way. Hang on.
Okay.
Let me show you here. Okay. Let's. I was gonna present this screen. Is it okay?
I don't see anything being presented yet.
You see it now?
I see nothing.
Oh man, come on, hang on. It's not working?
No, I don't see nothing.
Oh man.
Maybe it's sharing on YouTube, but not from what I'm looking at.
Oh wow.
But I mean, you could just read it off.
Well, I was gonna make a syllogism, but anyway, let's just try like P1. Okay, P1.
Mm-hmm.
P1. Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus fulfilled prophecies which were written in the scriptures before he was born. P2.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus uniquely among historical religious figures claimed to be God.
Mm-hmm.
And 3, Jesus claimed that he would rise from the dead after he was crucified. And then all those things happened right after he was crucified. And then all those things happened as he predicted. Therefore, Jesus is God. That's kind of the argument, kind of it.
Okay, so anybody who accurately predicts their death is God.
No, their death and their resurrection.
Anybody who accurately predicts their resurrection is God.
And also
automatically.
No, you're ignoring my other premises, right? These things were also in the scriptures predicted before he was born. Okay.
Okay.
His death, his resurrection, etc., were all in the scriptures already. And then also, he uniquely claims to be God among religious figures, among world religious figures. He uniquely claims to be God, right? Those three things in
so anyone who claims to be God and raised from the dead is God. Is that the rule?
God, dude.
I'm just asking the question.
I had 3 premises. Bro.
Okay, all right. I see the first one. P1, Jesus fulfilled prophecies. P2, Jesus claimed to be God.
in the scriptures before he was born. They're in the scriptures before he was born.
Okay, I mean,
right?
yeah,
many, not just a few. Many.
I mean, it doesn't. Okay? Okay, logically it would only need to be one. It doesn't like it doesn't
No, I
become
think
it doesn't become more valid by adding more prophecies. Like if it
well,
works,
it
if it
kinda
works on
does.
prophecy, then it works.
It kind
It's
of
not like
builds
2 is going to
up.
be invalid, but 10 would be. Like,
Nah, come on, man, because you're just trying to deny me on. The
I'm not.
Daniel
I'm not.
thing.
I'm honestly asking the question because
Yeah.
this is why I asked. So like I've had other episodes where I've had guests come on, and I would grant the resurrection, I grant the ascension, I grant the virgin birth, and I grant
Okay.
plenty of miracles, and then I'll ask, how do we get from there to him being God? And
Okay.
and it never goes anywhere.
Well, okay.
I'm just saying how are you
it's
getting
not a
there?
deductive argument, right? It's a like a inference to the best explanation type of argument, abductive we could call it, right? So it's
Okay.
like,
Oh, why would God be the best explanation? Like that seems to be breaking Occam's razor. The best explanation would be the one with the fewest assumptions. So
yeah,
not
is
that
the
he
fewest.
it'd be the fewest assumptions. So
that is
so
the one with the fewest assumptions.
no,
It
that's
is.
not. That's not
Oh,
because
absolutely is.
no,
Absolutely.
but
Okay,
Mike,
well, what's the
hold on.
better? What's the better? What's the better?
Okay.
One? Give me a better.
Okay, so
One. Okay.
him being God is the one option with the most assumptions. Because
No,
you're
it isn't. No, you're just. No,
Mike,
you're
I can
just
tell
asserting
you
that.
why.
Okay,
I can tell you why. So let's say, let's say somebody fulfills prophecy, and then predict dies, and then raises from the dead.
Okay.
Right. One option is that he is capable of raising himself from the dead.
No, that's the thing.
The-
That's
the
not an option.
second
That's
option-
not an option. That's not an option,
But-
dude. That's like you're going
No,
to the
it-
supernatural.
But Mike,
without,
Mike,
like, what's
Mike,
the point
it
of that?
logically, but how is that not an option? If you raise
Because-
yourself from the dead, then you are capable of raising yourself from the dead.
Bro.
That logically follows.
Yeah, okay, it does. But
Okay,
the thing is,
okay,
this is
but-
the thing. No, this is the thing because that's not a human trait. That's not a human.
He doesn't
you're
have to
already-
be human. He doesn't
well,
have
you're-
to be human.
Well, okay, so you're
but
already
Mike,
going
can
to
I
the
can I explain?
supernatural.
Can I explain
Okay,
why
all
it
right.
is? Okay,
I'll let you finish. Sorry.
so if someone dies and raised from the dead, one option is that they can raise themselves from the dead.
Okay.
The second option is that they're God and they can do anything.
Okay.
Which one has the fewest assumptions?
Okay, yeah, that's right. No, you're correct. You're correct.
Right.
The first one is, however.
So the best
However.
option is going to be what I said.
No. This is the thing.
Occam's
No,
razor.
because you're not explaining the other premises. First of all, secondly, you don't have when you assert that somebody just has the ability to rise from the dead.
Mm-hmm.
That's just completely just you're literally just going to the supernatural already.
I'm
If
not.
you're going to the supernatural anyway.
No,
How
I'm
is that
not.
not supernatural? How is it not supernatural?
I don't know what the cause is. I don't know how it was done.
No,
I
no,
just said
no,
they rose
come
some
on.
stuff from the dead. Perhaps they reanimated their atoms somehow and reinvigorated.
No, come
I
on,
have
come
no.
on, bro.
No,
Nobody.
but-
No, 3 days. 3 days in the
3
grave.
days.
3 days.
Yes,
right?
3 days.
Come on, man.
So
Nobody does that.
there are frogs who can freeze themselves over.
Bro, come
Where
on.
their heart
Frogs?
stops, the pulse
Frogs,
stops. There's
dude?
no brain activity.
No,
They
no,
are, for
no.
all intents and purposes, dead, and then they come
No,
back.
you see, you know what
I
you're
don't
doing?
know.
You know what you're doing, bro? Instead of like
Okay.
explaining all the data, so we're looking for an explanation of the data, right? We're looking for something that can explain all the data. What you're doing is you're taking like one part of the argument and you're saying, okay, I can explain that by saying he's just a person who can raise from the dead. But
Mm-hmm.
you're not saying, okay, maybe he's a frog, maybe he's like a frog that went into hibernation or whatever, right? But then I could just say, wait a minute. He was stabbed by a Roman soldier. The Romans knew how to kill people on crucifixion. They're not idiots. He
Right.
was dead.
but this guy-
of him not being dead.
This guy knows
very
how
well.
to. This guy. There's only a specific way to kill him, and he knows what that is. The Romans didn't know that. The Romans
so,
know how.
yeah.
The Romans know
Why-
how
why
to
is
kill a
this person-
person. This guy
No.
is different.
You're okay. So you're already you're already doing. You're already like conceding to the fact that there's something special about Jesus, unique. Like something.
Well,
that
yeah,
no
because
other
he rose.
human-
I'm not.
Wait,
I'm not.
yeah,
that's
yeah.
not. That's not conceding. That is built into the proposition. If we assume, if you're gonna say
okay.
for argument's sake that he rose himself from the dead, which
Yeah.
nobody else can do, then it's
Yeah.
by definition unique.
Yeah, but the thing, but the thing is, you just saying, oh, well, maybe he's just one of these people that could do that, and when that never happened ever, it's like that's not a better explanation than just saying, okay, he was what he said he was, And then that
Why
other
would you grant
explanation-
that? But why would you?
Well,
why
because-
would you go from the he rose himself from the dead, therefore
So
he
he's
can do
God?
anything? Yeah.
No, because it also explains this other data about him, such as the other prophecies, such as the fact that, or we can talk about the fact that like God explains morality and all these other things. We can explain all these other things.
I can
based
explain
on-
morality without God. That's really easy
Nah,
to do.
nah, you can't, bro.
I will have you on again really soon, and I can explain morality to you.
Oh, really?
Yes,
no, I don't think you can,
it is
bro.
very
Okay,
easy.
We can have that discussion. Okay.
All right, we will do it. We will do it soon.
All right. But like, okay, even just look at the historical data, right? Okay.
Okay.
The fact that there's numerous prophecies about him that he predicted, that he fulfilled, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you just say, oh, it just happened to be a guy who knew how to rise himself from the dead, how does he also fulfill all these prophecies in the scripture?
Because he knew how to do those things too.
So yeah, so you're just adding these other things. It's just like
I'm adding them based. All I'm doing is following the principle.
You're granting my thing. And you're saying,
This is what if we're saying what is actual is also possible, and it is what you call it, a reflexive logic. That, and I am just granting it. So if something did happen, then it's possible that it happened. So if Jesus rose from the dead, then it is possible that he rose himself from the dead. If he fulfilled the prophecy, any particular one, then it's also possible that he fulfilled that prophecy. He is also capable of doing that.
Okay.
So
why does this fail on Occam's razor? Why does this fail on Occam's razor? So because this is what you're doing.
Because for Occam's, you're asking why it fails or why it doesn't fail.
No, I'm going to tell you why your theory fails on Occam's razor. Because what you're doing is you're saying, hey, let's propose this theory that there's a person who could raise himself from the dead. Let's propose the theory that this person could also fulfill all these prophecies.
It's not a theory.
No. It is.
It is reflexive logic. It follows directly from what we grant.
Yeah, but the thing is, okay, so yeah, you're granting that it's possible that this thing could happen. Okay, fair enough. But then we have to explain how is it possible? So it's possible that
you don't have to.
No.
Once you start doing that, you're departing Occam's razor.
No, you are trying to do that. You are trying to do that. When you say, hey, maybe it's just possible that there's a person who could raise himself from the dead and fulfill the prophecies, etc., etc. And maybe that's just this person happened to be that person. That's a bunch of theories.
It's not a theory.
Assumptions.
It's not a theory. But Mike, for argument's sake, I granted that Jesus rose from the dead.
I know.
Right.
I get it.
So if Jesus rose himself from the dead, then he is capable of raising himself from the dead.
Exactly. Okay,
all right. So that's not a theory. It just logically follows.
But
that I am staying there. That is Occam's razor.
I get it. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not.
Now
you're
adding stuff.
No. Let me explain why that's not Occam's razor.
Okay.
Because when you say, okay, we granted that it happened, so that means it's possible. Okay, fair enough. So now we're trying to explain how is this possible, and you're saying, okay, one theory is that there just happens to be this guy in first century Palestine who happens to be able to rise himself from the dead, fulfill the prophecies, and predict the destruction of the temple, and predict the rise of the church, and predict the Paul and all this other things. That's one theory. Which is just a bunch of assumptions.
That's the fewest assumptions.
No.
Matter of fact, those aren't even assumptions. Those logically follow.
From
what you granted.
No. This is the thing. So it's not that. I'm not trying to say that. Like, okay, I'm not trying to deny that, okay, if we grant that it's possible that it happened, that therefore all of these things are possible. But when you try to say to me, okay, maybe it just happened to be that this person could do that, that's a theory. And that theory relies on these assumptions that it's possible that he could rise from the dead, possible he could predict the
Not
prophecies.
an assumption. You keep saying that. It's not an
assumption.
Wait,
no, it does.
It's built into the proposition that we granted.
No, I know.
If something is actual, then it's possible.
No, but this is the thing, bro.
That's how it works.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I get it. But then you have to come. What we're trying to do now is come up with a theory as to why is it possible.
And if we follow reflexive logic, the fewest assumptions is going to be that he is capable of doing. He is capable of doing those things.
No, no.
There'd be no reason to say he also spoke the universe into existence.
Oh no. This is what I'm saying. I'm not going there yet. I'm not going there yet, right? But
Okay.
what I am saying is like, okay. So it's possible that somebody could do this. Yes, okay, we're saying that. So why is it possible? Is it possible just because there happened to be this person in first century Palestine that could do it? Or is it possible that he was God as he claimed? Which of those theories has the least assumptions, okay? And
The
I'm saying to
first one
you-
definitely has.
That's
to
what I'm saying. No. This is what I'm saying to you.
No.
It's, I'm telling you, no.
How could a man just raising himself from the dead have
You-
more assumptions than him being God?
No, because
Come on, Mike.
no, because the theory that a person could just do that it just happened to be a person in first century Palestine that could do that requires numerous assumptions.
Like what?
Numerous.
Like
for,
what?
For example, why is this person, a random person in first century Palestine, fulfilling the prophecies of the Hebrew scriptures?
That's a question. That's not an assumption.
Well, no.
Well,
That's
what
your
assu-
theory.
what
Your theory has to
assumptions would
explain
it-
that.
No,
Your theory has to explain that.
no, it doesn't. It doesn't have to explain that.
Yeah.
All I'm doing is just following the logic here. If we grant that Jesus
Dude.
rose from the dead,
You know,
then he
I
is
feel like-
capable of raising himself from the dead.
I feel like
You don't
yeah,
grant
yeah.
anymore.
No,
Otherwise, you have
No,
thrown
no.
out Occam's razor.
No, I'm not. You're misusing. It. I'm telling you, bro. Because what you're doing is the Occam's razor is to create a theory, right? It's like when we used it to create a theory, the best theory. The best theory is the one with the least assumptions,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So if your theory is that there just happened to be a person in first century Palestine that could do all these things,
We know there are persons, and then we granted that those things happen. So then a person
have-
did them.
yeah. Then,
I mean, right.
no, yeah. No, but then we're
I
coming up with we need to come up with a theory as to why this person was able to do it. And you're just saying, well, it just happened to be that a person was born that could do it. And I'm saying that a better theory would be that God did it, and the reason is that He predicted it. Everything exactly came down as it happened.
How is that? Do you know how many assumptions that
No,
is?
no, you don't. No, it's less assumptions.
It
bro,
is
because-
not.
because
No, there's no way.
This is the assumption.
Okay,
This is,
one
my assumption.
guy-
My assumption is
Mhm.
God did it. That's one assumption. One. Your
Okay,
assumption is
when you say
this happens
God
to be
did
a
it-
person. Yeah.
But listen, God brings in a ton of assumptions. There's tons of baggage in there.
Okay, okay,
Because you believe this
what's the
God also
baggage?
created.
Talk to me about the baggage.
Okay, for one, so Jesus rose himself from the dead, right? Now we know Jesus was a man, right? Okay, and then he rose himself from the dead. So I just grant that he's a man who rose himself from the dead. He's just capable of doing that. It just
Yeah,
logically follows. Now, when you say he's a god, now you're saying there is someone who has control over all of reality, who created the universe, who doing all of these different things. There's no. Okay,
No, this is what you're doing, bro.
So-
This you're
Mike,
like
question
flipping,
for
you're
you.
flipping the whole.
What if I
ability of
said-
Occam's razor.
what?
Flipping it.
Mike, what if I said there's two options? Jesus was a man who's capable of raising himself from the dead. Two,
And
Jesus
fulfilling
wa-
prophecies.
Jesus was a-
and
but hold on.
all those other things.
He
right?
did those
Okay.
things. Yes, he was a man
Okay.
capable of doing those things.
That's the thing. Requires numerous assumptions. Okay.
Well, those aren't
So that's-
assumptions. Those
they
are
are-
built into the acceptance
No.
of the proposition.
Let me explain. Let me explain what I mean. What I mean is, you're assuming that there could be a person who could do those things. That's the assumption. You're assuming that there could be a person.
But Jesus
who
is a
isn't God.
person, isn't he?
No. You're assuming that there could be a person who isn't God, who could do all those things, right? So that requires each of those things is a separate
No.
assumption.
I'm
Yeah,
assuming that there's no. That's not what I'm assuming.
Yeah, you are.
I
You
am
are.
not.
Yeah.
Mike, hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
Mike,
Sorry.
I am assuming that there is a person who can do that. Whether they're God or not is another question that we don't have
you're
evidence
granting,
for.
So you're granting. The
I'm not
possibility that there
granting
could be
God.
Okay,
No,
yeah.
I'm not granting God. The person,
no. Are you granting
Jesus
the
could also be a
possibility?
vampire. There's no evidence for that either.
Are you granting the possibility that he could be God? Are you granting that possibility? Are you granting the
He-
possibility that you could be God? The possibility.
Yes, him doing it because he's God is
Possible,
does
right?
not violate any law of logic.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying to you, bro.
But
If we take
there's
okay.
still a big fat assumption.
think about it. Think about it. No, this is what I'm saying to you, bro. Like, okay, if I just assume that he's God, that's one assumption, and it explains all the data. Whereas you have to say, okay, there must have been one person. We've never seen this ever before. We've never seen a person who could rise himself from the dead. We've never seen a person who could fulfill prophecies, all this stuff.
Until
But there's one
Jesus.
person that could do it, and that person happens to be Jesus, and he happens
But
to not
Mike,
really
we've
be God.
never seen a God do it either. So we've never
Well,
seen a
unless
man
we
or
did.
a
Unless
God
we
do
did.
it. Unless we did see a man do it.
Unless Jesus is God. That's then we did see one. That's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
unless Jesus is just a man, and then we also saw it.
No, but if Jesus is just a man, it's like he's the only man that could ever do it. Whereas if Jesus is God, then okay, that explains
He's the
it.
only God who could ever do it because he's the only God, right?
He's the only God. Yeah.
Right. do you see how the arguments
No, it doesn't-
work
no, it
both
doesn't-
ways?
it's not- that
Except
doesn't-
mine has fewer assumptions.
No,
That- it does
Dude,
because
bro,
because
I don't know how I can
but
explain
Mike,
this to you. Like,
because since your argument have more assumptions,
it doesn't. It doesn't.
but since it has more,
doesn't.
any argument you make for it, I could just mirror it
Bro,
easily.
bro,
That's just how it works.
My argument does not have more assumptions. Your argument has more assumptions. I can't. Listen. This is how this works. How
Okay.
this works. Okay. If you assume that there's a person who could do this, right? That we've never seen that before ever, right? So a person who could rise himself from the dead, that's one assumption. A person who could fulfill prophecies in a book by the Jews written long before he was born.
No,
That's
that's
another
not an
assumption.
assumption. That like we
No.
If
It's not an
someone rose
assumption.
himself from the dead, we know as a fact that somebody can raise himself from the dead.
No, what I'm saying is not that.
Okay.
Because your theory is that he's not God, right? So you're assuming that there was one
No.
person.
My question is, how would you know that he is God based on the resurrection or based on the prophecies or prophecies or any
it's the
particular
best-
event?
It's the best explanation of the data. That's what I'm saying to you. I'm not giving you a deductive argument for it.
But
I'm just saying.
but remember, isn't the best explanation the one with the fewest assumptions?
That's what I'm saying to you.
How
it is
is
pure
a
assumptions,
God-
bro. It is, dude. This is. I don't know.
Okay, all right, I got
know
a question
sounds
for
like-
you. Let's say you came down to DC one day,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
I'm a gym head. I go in the gym a lot, lift weights, right?
Yeah.
And you see me, I throw on 4 or 5, and I just start repping it out, right?
Mm.
What would you say is the most likely cause? Would you say is following Occam's razor? One, that I'm just a strong guy and I work out a lot.
Mm.
2, I'm God.
No. That's the
No,
thing. There's
no, I'm
no
asking you,
comparison.
which one
There's
has the
no
fewest
comparison.
assumptions?
Dude,
It is.
There's no comparison.
But
whatsoever.
Mike, that's a lot of weights.
No. Let me.
It's a lot of weight, Mike. I'm repping 405, man.
Let me explain.
Which
Let
one
me
is he?
explain why there's no comparison between those two things. Because
Okay.
we know that there are many people who could go to the gym and work out for many years and get to that level. That is a possibility among human beings.
What's the
Whereas-
max bench?
What?
Let's say the max bench press was 1,000 pounds. Let's say I put on 2,000 pounds, and I just
Okay,
start repping
okay.
2,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Now, what is the most likely cause? I'm really strong guy. 2, I'm God. Which one follows Occam's razor?
Okay. So, yeah. I guess really strong guy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But that's just one piece of data. Whereas
Right,
we're-
but now, Mike, you said really strong guy.
Mm.
Now, why wouldn't you say that? Why would God have more assumptions?
Oh, because in that case, there's only one piece of data there. One fact that you managed to lift something that's basically humanly impossible. That would be a thing like, okay, that's hard to explain, but maybe it's just like there's one guy who could do it. It's reasonable to think that. But when we have a person, first of all, rising from the dead is different than just being really strong. Secondly, rising from the dead, fulfilling prophecies,
Functionally,
predicting the
it's not
destruction of
that different.
Jerusalem.
They're both things that we believe to be beyond human ability.
Well, there's
Functionally,
beyond human ability and there's beyond human ability. For example,
but
you see-
what I'm saying is they're functionally equivalent, like epistemically.
Nah, because look, you know how you hear about stories like some lady, her daughter was under a car in a car wreck, and she just lifted the car because of adrenaline or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
you hear the stories. So that's why it's like, okay, maybe he's just one of those people, or he's freakishly strong or whatever. It maybe it's possible, whatever.
Let's say I pick up a mountain.
Okay, if you pick up a mountain, now we're talking. Now we're like, okay,
Which
maybe
one?
That person.
Let's say I have a Herculean strength.
Yeah.
That is one possibility. The other is I am God. Which one has the fewest assumptions?
Oh. Okay, pick up a mountain. I
pick up a whole.
Well,
I go to.
Okay.
I go to Mount Everest.
Did you also fulfill numerous prophecies in the ancient text?
Just say there's a prophecy that says this guy's going to pick up a mountain.
One prophecy or like 100 prophecies?
There's a billion prophecies that says the guy's going to pick up a mountain.
Also, did you also fulfill like these let's say these moral claims about philosophical arguments we can make for the Hebrew God, like from morality, from like there's so many things that you're ignoring here that Jesus explains, that you're trying to reduce it to this one thing, supernatural rising from the dead. It's not the only thing, right? It's like he rose from the dead. He fulfilled the prophecies. He predicted the destruction of Jerusalem. He predicted all these other things and all, like, so many things. Like, all these things, when you add them all up, we don't know anyone who could do it. We've never seen a person do it, but we know that if he were God, it would explain all those things.
But if you were to follow Occam's razor, when you add an additional, and when you accept an additional proposition, you just accept an additional claim, and you just add it just to meet those, explain that criteria. For example, let's say I pick up the mountain, right? So now I am capable of picking up the mountain. You grant that, and let's say I also predict the Super Bowl for the next 10 years. Now you grant that I'm also predicting the Super Bowl for the next 2 years, right? And they say I also predict the next president, and I did that. And so I do those three things. What you would, if you're following Occam's razor, what you would grant is that I'm capable of picking up a mountain, capable of picking the Super Bowl, and capable of picking up and determining who the president would be. That's Occam's razor.
Yeah, that'd be
what it would not be Occam's razor is he is capable of anything. He is the foundation of reality.
No.
You have jumped the things because God can do things that's not required in the proposition you accept it. If we grant that Jesus rose from the dead and fulfilled prophecy, there is no reason to grant that he also can make a galaxy by speaking it into existence. You see what I'm saying? Those are the added assumptions that we're throwing in there.
Well, okay, no, because that's not the argument, right? Really, the argument is this: that okay, first of all, we make the argument that a God is a God, that the fact that the notion that there is a God is a better explanation for contingent reality, the fact that we exist, etc. You know, that's the first argument, right?
Okay,
I'm
down. Yeah, I'm down. Like I got about like 15 minutes left. Got it.
Okay.
And then like 8:30. But I'm down. I like you, man. You're a funny guy to talk to. I want to have you back on pretty often. So I'm down to get to that. I'm down to get to that. But that's going to take up a whole episode.
All right.
I want to go back to, for right now, I want to go back to the Bible. And you had said you believed in inerrancy, and you had in infallibility, and you believe that if there was any claim in the Bible that was false, that would disprove Christianity. And I said, hey, you might become an atheist today. Okay. Yeah. I want to see how you're gonna handle this. All right.
All right. What do you got?
So, you familiar with the prophecy in Ezekiel 26? It's a prophecy that Ezekiel makes against the king of Tyre.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, he says that King Nebuchadnezzar, he's going to bring all his armies, and they're going to go out to Tyre, which is the city on the Phoenician coast, right? It's this island city.
Yeah.
He's going to destroy the walls, knock down all its towers. He's going to take all of its inhabitants and enslave them, and the city will be good for nothing but drying fishing nets, and it will never be rebuilt.
Yeah.
Tell me why that city is still there.
No, because you know why? First of all, okay. First of all, it wasn't saying that it will never be rebuilt at all, but they will never be rebuilt to that level where it was. That's what he's saying. Like
That's not what it says, though.
Oh, it does. It's like
It
that's
says
the
it would
that's
never
the
be rebuilt.
that's the phraseology. That's the way they use that type of language. Do you want to take a look at it? It's on my Bible right now.
Mm-hmm.
But first of all, I would just say that
It says, "You will never be rebuilt, for I, the Lord, have spoken," declares sovereign Lord.
Which verse is that? Which verse is that?
Verse 14.
Okay. Yeah, you will never be rebuilt to the level where you were. That's what it's saying. Because they were this rich city.
But that's not what the text says. Well, we
No,
said
but that's
never
what- that's
rebuilt
what-
to the level where you were. Where are you getting at?
No. When it says rebuilt, they mean like that. That's what it means. Like, that's
Why
what
do
it's
you
getting
think it
at.
mean? Why do you think they mean that?
Because that's the type of like idiomatic language that the Bible uses in these type of
But
prophecies.
why do you think that here? Do you think it's being idiomatic when it says Nebuchadnezzar is going to conquer the city?
Well, when so it says Nebuchadnezzar, but before it said Nebuchadnezzar, it said, I will cause many nations. Many nations.
Yeah, that's
right?
Nebuchadnezzar. So he was not only a king; he was the emperor, right? He had an
No,
empire.
no,
So
no,
the
no,
many
no.
nations was the people he was.
No. It's saying
Yes.
many nations as in Nebuchadnezzar, then Alexander, then
Yes,
you
but-
know what I mean? So that's
No.
what
It's not
getting
talking
at.
about Alexander the
It
Great.
is. It is
talking about Nebuchadnezzar.
it is.
Okay, all right. So just to be clear, you're saying Ezekiel 26
Yeah.
is talking about Nebuchadnezzar.
And Alexander, because this is it's like this
Who do you think destroyed the city of Tyre?
well, Nebuchadnezzar didn't destroy the island city, right? But
He
Alexander
didn't destroy
did.
anything. So the city.
Well, he destroyed the coastal city. He did
the coastal part was not there.
No,
that
it
was
there.
that was not. I'm sorry. It was not Tyre.
It was Tyre. Yeah, that's Tyre.
It was that was not the city. The city was just it was on a
No,
it was on an island.
come on, man. No.
Yes.
No, it's like it was like they're both considered Tyre, but Tyre.
They
like,
were
the
not.
island cities.
They were not. You could just look up ancient Tyre. It's the,
Well,
it's the
what
island.
did they call the part of the island on the coast? What did they call that part?
I don't know, but it
They
was
call it Tyre, dude. They did. They
was
did call
not.
it Tyre. They did absolutely, bro. They did call it Tyre.
But so
The
was
thing
there
is-
was there walls and towers on that part?
There was walls, but
Answer
there
is no.
wasn't.
No, they had no protection. You could
They
just
have
ride
walls,
up to
dude.
it
They have walls, bro.
on
They
the
did have walls.
island. On the island,
Yeah, the island had walls, but so did the coastal town had walls.
it
yes.
it didn't. That was not the same.
So
place.
wait, okay. So what are you saying? What are you saying? So look what it says. They'll cause many nations, and they shall destroy the walls.
Mm-hmm.
So the many nations destroy the walls, not Tyre, not Nebuchadnezzar.
The
Nebuchadnezzar, huh?
okay. So are you saying that this prophecy was fulfilled?
Yeah.
Ezekiel 26 was fulfilled.
Yeah.
That is your argument.
That's my argument because
Okay.
okay, first of all, the many nations it's not saying Nebuchadnezzar will destroy the walls. It says many nations.
Okay,
I'm saying
and
many
so-
nations is not just Nebuchadnezzar but also Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then I'm saying that when it talks about how they're going to be casting nets or whatever, that's what happened to the city. Used to
Okay.
be like a rich port.
Did
now it
did
was-
Alexander the Great do that? Did he destroy the city?
Yes.
He did not.
What do you mean he did not? What do you mean
He
conquered
did
the
not. So
city?
he actually conquered it and carried off this and enslaved parts of the city and all that kind of stuff. But he did not do what Ezekiel
So-
26 says.
Okay, well, where did the walls get destroyed? Alexander destroyed the walls, right? He breached the
Not from my
walls.
understanding. What he did was they laid a bunch of dirt
Yeah,
and made a
yeah,
land bridge
and
to the
then-
city.
And
and
then
they
he made the
went to
land
it.
bridge, and then he destroyed. Then how did he get into the city? He destroyed the walls. He breached the walls. He must have breached the walls.
Yeah, he did breach the walls, but that's not what it says. Like all those walls and towers going to be leveled. But okay,
Well,
but
it doesn't
anyway,
know-
the
it doesn't
prophecy
say-
was that Nebuchadnezzar was going to do it, right?
Wait, no. Look at this. Look, I will scrape her dust from her and make her like the top of her. He scraped the dust. Alexander did that, right? Alexander scraped the dust, right? He scraped the dust
Okay,
and
so
made the land bridge,
so
right?
Alexander the Great fulfilled Ezekiel 26. Is that your response?
Yes.
Okay, can you turn it to Ezekiel chapter 29?
29.
Yep,
Okay.
29. because this is weird. Because Alexander the Great fulfilled this prophecy, but for some reason, Ezekiel and God seem to be under the impression that this prophecy didn't get fulfilled.
Why? When? Where?
So, verse 17. In the 27th year, in the first month of the first day, the word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, drove his army in a hard campaign against Tyre. Every head was rubbed bare, and every shoulder made raw. Yet he and his army got no reward from their campaign led against Tyre. Now, here's the issue. If the prophecy was about Alexander the Great in the first place, this really makes no sense.
Why? Wait,
he didn't. The prophecy wasn't about him.
What, this Nebuchadnezzar thing? This thing.
Yeah.
What this is about.
It says, therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says: I'm going to give Egypt to Nebuchadnezzar.
Yeah, you use Egypt. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happened, dude. That's exactly what happened. He went to Tyre. He spent a few years there. Waging his campaign against them.
Yeah, and then it says in verse 20, it says, I have given him Egypt as a reward for his efforts because he and his army did it for me.
Right, yeah.
But the prophecy was never about them in the first place.
What prophecy? What?
Ezekiel 26.
It was. No, this is the thing. So
it wasn't. You just said Alexander the Great fulfilled it.
No,
it wasn't about Nebuchadnezzar.
It's telescopic. That's what I'm saying. The prophecies in the Bible are often... They'll have
who was supposed to fulfill Ezekiel 26?
It's both. It's both Nebuchadnezzar and Alexander.
It explicitly says Nebuchadnezzar, and that Nebuchadnezzar it says his horses, his chariot, many nations. Okay, many nations was going to come against the city, and we see that happening with Nebuchadnezzar. If you look at his army, his army consisted of many nations. However, when it talks about who's doing it, it is Nebuchadnezzar's armies.
No, because that's the first part of it. The first part of the many nations is Nebuchadnezzar and his armies. And just the fact, look, Alexander had many nations with him too, right?
It says, he will direct the blows of his battering rams against your walls and demolish your towers. His horses, referring to Nebuchadnezzar.
Wait. Where's that part?
I'm reading verse 9. And Ezekiel 26.
No, because Nebuchadnezzar doesn't get mentioned until verse 14 or something, right?
He gets mentioned in verse 7. In verse 7 it says, for this is what the sovereign Lord says, from the north I'm going to bring against Tyre Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, king of kings.
Against thy walls, it says. So he shall break down thy towers. What you saying? There's no towers in the coastal side of it? No towers? Are you saying there's no towers?
I don't see any evidence. I don't see any evidence of towers on the coast of the coastal side. Yeah,
what do you mean? No towers in the coastal side of Tyre, right?
Tyre was the island city.
Yeah, I know.
There was trading posts.
There was listen, dude. The coastal part of Tyre was also called Tyre. Sorry, I'm looking this up.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Ezekiel? Okay. No, bro. For sure, 100%. The coastal part was called
Ushu.
Tyre.
No, it was not.
It was called Old Tyre.
Later,
Ushu or Old Tyre.
Or
Old Tyre. Old Tyre. Right?
By the Greeks. Now, how? Yes. Now, bro, how did that part come to be?
How did what part? Mainland Tyre?
Yes, because that
was the first part. That was first.
That wasn't
first. Yes, it was. It was first. It was. And then,
okay. All right. So now,
was built
after. Okay. I just want to say here. So you're saying Ezekiel was fulfilled by Nebuchadnezzar
and Alexander.
Okay. So why does it in Ezekiel 29 does it say he got no reward for his campaign against Tyre?
Because he lost money on it, basically, is what they're saying.
No, that's not what it says. He lost money. You can lose money, gain something. So it says he got no reward.
No reward, because that's what he's getting at is that he didn't have money to pay his troops, so that's why he took Egypt.
Did he conquer Tyre?
He conquered the mainland part.
He
of
did
it.
not. He wrote. If you
He
go,
did.
if you Google this, he laid a 10-year siege on the city,
Yeah, he
just
took-
trying to
he took
starve
the
it out.
city.
And then no, what happened is it led to a draw. That is not
okay. Well, that's so there you go. He broke down the walls though, and the
He didn't
towers.
break down the walls.
He did, man.
He did
Wow.
not. It was a 10-year siege that failed. It resulted in a draw.
No, wait. Let me just look this up here.
Nebuchadnezzar was never able to take that city. But Mike, here's the problem. If you want to argue that he did take it, Ezekiel 29 is under the impression that it didn't happen. And then as a result, God says he's going to give him Egypt. But Nebuchadnezzar never conquered Egypt either.
No, he did. He
He did not conquer Egypt.
No, he took them down in the battle at is it Carchemish?
The battle you're talking about, was a remote post in Syria that Egypt controlled. And he never conquered Egypt. It would be the equivalent of.
What does it say? What does it say? This doesn't say he's going to take Egypt. It says he's going to get a reward. He's going to get the money to pay his troops or whatever.
He says, "I have given him Egypt as a reward." Do
do
you know?
The army.
But here's the problem. It was that was in Syria. That was not Egypt. And here's the big problem. You know when Nebuchadnezzar fought that battle against Egypt? Is when he was a prince.
Yeah. So what?
Before he was king. He was Nebuchadnezzar. He was a young prince.
Okay.
Fighting a battle in Syria against Egypt. That means this prophecy is not about that.
No, dude, this is what happened in those places in those times, right? Mm-hmm. This is what happened. So you'd have a king like Nebuchadnezzar. He would conquer the army, and then he would force them to pay tributes every year, and they would also be under his command. The army would be under his command. He doesn't go in and take the country like the Romans. They didn't go in and occupy.
But that's what Ezekiel 26 says is going to happen.
No. That's not what it's saying.
He's going to destroy the wall and carry off their inhabitants.
Well, entire,
yes,
right?
entire. That's what it says he's going to do.
Yeah, well, he
doesn't do that.
No, they did. No, they had.
But you're saying he did do it to the coastal part, but chapter 29 says it didn't happen at all.
No. Chapter 29 is not saying that. They're not saying that. It's just saying he didn't get a reward. Right? So he didn't have he didn't have a clean military capture of the island city. But he forced their surrender, the coastal city, forced to surrender. Even he forced the negotiated surrender of the island city.
It says they will plunder your wealth and loot your merchandise. They will break down your walls, demolish your fine houses, and throw your stones, timber, and rubble in the sea. I will put an end to the noisy songs.
That's more predicted by. That's more carried on by Alexander.
I will make you a bare rock, but Alexander the Great didn't do that because the city is still there.
No, but again, like what I'm saying, when it says rebuild, you will not rebuild anymore. It's because it's saying that you won't have that glory that you had anymore. Not that you'll never have a city.
That's not what the text says.
No, because that's like, look, it's idiomatic. It's using poetic language, right? That's how prophecy works. That's how the Bible.
This is not poetic language.
It is. When it says that you will not be rebuilt anymore.
Nebuchadnezzar is going to bring his armies into a city. That's not poetry.
No,
Ezekiel as a book is not even like that type of. We're not talking about.
It is. No, it is. Because poetry,
poetry.
Prophecy is like poetic. Prophecy is generally poetic. It's considered to be poetic. So they use this poetic phraseology. They use that kind of language, But when he talks about
his horses will be so many that they will cover you with dust.
Yeah, isn't that obviously poetic? That poetic? That's obviously
there's a lot of horses they trampling and you're gonna be covered with dust after.
No, it's because
that's not poetic. That would literally happen. You'll be covered with dust after a horse runs.
Literally covered in dust. It's just
you'll be covered in dust.
No.
Why wouldn't you be?
No, covered. Like what does that mean? Covered. Covered means covered. Literally covered means you're literally covered, right? But
you'd be literally covered in dust.
The Bible's not trying to say that. The Bible's saying that there's going to be lots of dust when the horses come along.
And you'll be covered in it if you're near that.
Well, you'll have a lot of dust.
You ever
but
been to
won't
like a
be
monster
covered.
truck show?
This guy.
Like a truck goes by, there's like dust everywhere. If you're near that, you're gonna be covered in it.
No. But covered is not like literally covered means like you're covered. So
He will kill
light
your
can't
people
even-
with the sword.
He did kill lots of their people.
That,
with
but
the sword.
it's not poetry.
no, that's not no. But it is
Okay.
kind of poetic. Like
I got a
Alright.
question for you.
Okay,
Did
talk to me.
Nebuchadnezzar,
Yeah.
as a king,
Yeah.
ever conquer Egypt?
conquer. Well, this is the thing. So that's what I'm saying to you. Conquest in those days was more a matter of defeating the army and then getting the king to surrender to you.
Did he do
And
that
then-
to Egypt?
He did. He did.
He did not.
He did in the sense of like not in the way Babylon ruled like
You could
Judah,
just
like-
Google it. No, King Nebuchadnezzar never conquered and permanently annexed Egypt.
Well, no, it's
That
like
that battle that they were fighting was on a remote military post in Syria,
but he received
far
he
away
received-
from the Egyptian homeland.
But he received the plunder, right? He received the plunder. He took the army and received the plunder. That was what the Bible predicted.
He got that military post. That was it.
No, but he also got- he
the
plundered
pharaoh
them.
was not paying tribute to Nebuchadnezzar.
Okay, that's fair. But he plundered them. He plundered the army. That was the point. The
No,
thing
he
is,
did.
like,
He just took the post. That's
took
that's
that-
it.
yeah, so
it
there's
it'll
probably
be
some
it'll be
money
like
there.
if Japan took Hawaii from us. That is not conquering the United States. That is not plundering the United States. That's not annexing the United States. Like
No.
you took
Well, does it
you
say-
they took Pearl Harbor. Not even Hawaii. They just took Pearl Harbor. Let's
No,
not.
does it say that he would conquer it, or does it say that he would take Egypt?
It says
He
he's going to give him
He
Egypt
gave them
as
Egypt,
a
so
reward.
He gave them Egypt as
So,
a reward. This
here's
is that
what
you're
we
going to
know.
defeat their army. You're going to defeat their army. You're going to get some plunder.
He
You're gonna be able to pay
invaded
your
Egypt.
troops.
He invaded Egypt in the 568 to 567 BCE and failed and lost. He came back home defeated.
No, that's another era. We're talking about the time.
No,
right
I'm
after
talking. We're
Tyre.
talking about Nebuchadnezzar.
No, I know, but I'm talking about right after Tyre when he defeated them at the battle at Carchemish or whatever it was,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's when he got the reward. That's what the prophecy is about, the reward. Okay.
There was no. He didn't get a reward from his campaign against.
Well, he
Egypt.
plundered them in the sense that he defeated the army and he got whatever he got.
He
out of
didn't
that.
do-
enough
so-
to.
You're talking about something that he did while he was prince, prior to Ezekiel 26 being written.
Prior to it, what?
Yes.
What do you mean prior to it?
So Nebuchadnezzar was prince, and then
When
while he was prince, he
defeated
was a general
the
and
Egyptian
led
army at Carchemish?
an army against Egypt. And they were
No,
fighting
no, we're
over this
talking
military
about-
post in Syria.
No, we're talking about after Tyre, right?
Yes, after Tyre.
That wasn't
After that
before.
happened.
That wasn't before Ezekiel was written.
So-
Ezekiel was written before he conquered Tyre.
It was written before. So 226 was presumably written before, because if it was written after, they'd be really silly to write it then, because then you're looking silly. You're post dicting something and you're getting it wrong, right? So it was presumably was written before. Now 29 was written after Tyre, which makes sense because he could see that he failed to capture it, and then God says, "I'm going to give you Egypt."
Oh, you're saying 29 is written after. Oh, you're saying 26
Yes.
is written before and 29 is written after. Okay.
Yes.
So-
So and then God says, "I'm going to
Well,
give you
what's
Egypt."
the basis for that? What's your basis for saying 29 is written after? Just merely the fact that he predicted it?
Well, it wasn't a prediction. He said that
Yeah,
you
so-
led your campaign against Tyre and got no reward. He's speaking in past tense and saying things accurately.
No. We're not suggesting that. We're saying that he predicted it. And what we're
So
not
the
even
first
making
part,
that argument.
so in the first in 29, when it talks about Tyre, that is clearly not a prediction.
in 29,
He says like, yes, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, drove past his army in hard campaign against Tyre. Every head was rubbed bare and every shoulder made raw. Yet he and his army got no reward from his campaign led against Tyre. That is past tense. That is
What's the verse for that again? Sorry, 29.
that is 18 to it's 18. Yep, verse 18. And then he says in 19 and 20 that he's going to give him Egypt as a reward. And then
Right.
we know, huh?
That's what I'm saying. So that part is okay. Maybe it's
That
written
part
after the
is
Tyre
false. Just
thing.
Google
No,
did
no, no.
Nebuchadnezzar ever
If he-
conquer Egypt?
No, I'm
It
not
will
saying. I'm
tell
not
you
saying
no.
he took the whole land of Egypt. I'm saying he defeated the army, plundered them enough to
That
have
was
a
before.
reward.
That was you were talking about decades before. That happened before.
No. When
so-
did that happen? When did that happen? Wait.
So
When did that happen?
Nebuchadnezzar took a military outpost from Egypt that was in Syria. Right? He did not conquer Egypt. He just took the.
He campaigned against Egypt in 568 to 567. Okay.
Yes.
So that would have been after Ezekiel 29.
That presumably that would be before. If it's after, then you're looking silly here, because
Why?
that didn't happen. Like if
The
I'm going
campaign
to,
against
if I'm,
Egypt, the
yeah,
campaign
if I'm
in
going to,
567.
you're right. If I'm going to write about an event after the fact, then and try to claim it's a prediction, then I'm at least going to get my facts right. Like I'm not going to write a prediction and say Kamala Harris wins the election and then claim it's a prediction, because it's false. It didn't happen. Now I just look silly.
No, but okay. So what are you suggesting happened in 567 when Nebuchadnezzar attacked Egypt?
He tried to invade Egypt and annex them, just like he did to several other nations, and he failed.
Okay, so are you saying that he got no plunder in that time? Do you know that? How do you know that?
Well, because you could just Google it and look at the historical records. He never.
No.
annexed
That's
them.
the thing. They don't have that kind of data. They don't know whether he got.
We
any
do.
kind of
We have
plunder or
plenty of
whatever.
records.
Okay,
There's plenty of
so
Egyptian records. Like
Egyptians
like,
never admit. They never admit when they lose wars.
They
never
do.
admit it.
They do.
don't.
There's
They don't.
tons. Yes, yeah. There are
They don't.
meticulous
They
record
don't.
keepers.
No, they
That
don't.
is not true.
No, you can look that up. You can look that up. Look that
There
up.
is tons of evidence. As a matter of fact,
ChatGPT
bro,
that right now. ChatGPT that right now.
Mike,
Right,
there was
seriously.
this Mike.
They
Mike,
never,
there was
they
this
never admit.
Mike,
They never admit when they lose
Mike,
wars. They don't.
there was this pharaoh
Yeah.
who hated his mother so much
Yeah.
that he tried to erase her from Egyptian history.
Yeah.
And guess what?
And he couldn't
We
do it,
have
right?
record of that.
I know, but we
They were
don't have
meticulous record
records
keepers.
of their. They don't. No, they didn't record when they lost battles. They would record. They're very propagandistic with their records.
They were not.
They're very much so. Like Google that, man. Google that. How the Egyptians wouldn't admit when they lost wars and stuff in their records and stuff. That's why, it's highly possible that Nebuchadnezzar in that campaign took enough money or whatever to pay his army, and that means the prophecy came true. There's no historical data that can disprove this prophecy.
So they didn't put it in monuments, is what it's saying.
Yeah. So
Okay.
what records do you have that the Babylonians did not take some reward, quote unquote, from Egypt when they attacked in 567?
Well, I'm just relying on the historical evidence available to me.
Yeah. What's the evidence that they did not do it? That's what I'm asking you.
Okay, let's hold on. I'm reading. Here's the Torah. It's the Torah.com. Shouldthismatter.com. Let's see what they're looking at. Actually, it is past 8:30. Yeah, I have to get ready to go. But I say
All right.
let's put a pin in this,
All right,
and
all
I'm
right.
gonna get you back on. I think I have a guest for next week.
Okay.
But let's I'll email you, and we can re-jump on this.
All right.
We can start off the show with this, and then we can go into ontological arguments for God.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
All
man.
right, cool.
But anyway, I
Thanks.
appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, for
Nice
sure.
guy, man. Like you, it was fun talking to you.
Yeah.
We'll be in contact over email, man.
All right, cool, brother.
All right,
Nice
my
to
man.
meet you. God bless.
You too, brother. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to Now That's Debatable. It is late. I gotta turn off and put my daughter in bed. I'll see you guys later. And signing out.